Hello and welcome to the Career Workshop. This is Ewan and it is 20 minutes past 1 on a Saturday afternoon. And I'm wondering how many of you are around because I'm here aiming to take your career questions. So if you have any career questions, please send them in. I've got quite a few to get through. Let me log in and go and check that. Let's go to TikTok. Because there are quite a lot of questions.
Hold on, I can't move over. And I think my tie's
Hold on a minute.
flown. I've got tie flown.
Okay, to move that away, and then
I've got
go
my baby.
here. Upload. Here we go. Comments. Great. There we are. So I want to make sure that I'm ready. Let's have a look at some of the questions. Can you talk about your own career path? Yes, I can. I will, but not right now. Hug. I think talking about I'm happy to talk about my career, but actually this is a career workshop for you. So what career questions have you got? And especially if you're in the follower bracket, my follower bracket here on TikTok is very much 18 to 24. And slightly more than that, but 18 to 24 is like 80%. So the chances are you are 18 to 24 if you're watching this. And therefore, one imagines you have some questions. I hope you have some questions. Please, please do send me questions, right? So if you have a question about your career, type. Okay, I'm here. I've just started this afternoon. I've got quite a lot of questions that I'm going to answer that have been sent in. Across the last couple of days, and I do need to answer those, so I'm going to answer those questions. If you have a career question, anything about LinkedIn, interviews, CVs, these kind of things, if you've got a career question, I am a former bank executive, and I have a long career, and I'm here on TikTok to help. So what is your perspective? What questions have you got for your career? And I have got quite a lot. Okay, Max. So before I get to the ones I've got here, Max says, hi, I don't know if you can help. I was in a sales interview with about 50 people. We then went to one-on-one role plays. I was wondering if you had any advice at all. Okay, so Max, say more about that. Say more about that. Shush, hello, hi. Please hit me with your questions. So Max, I just need more detail from you. So I'm here. My name is Ewan, and I am delighted to be seeing if I can help with any perspective. I have been through a lot in my career. There is not much that will phase me, just because I've seen a lot and done a lot. And you can tell, guys, you can tell by the grey hair, the grey thinning hair. I've been around, so if I can give back by assisting with any perspective, please let me know. So Ali says, 1 off 2, okay. Shush, I will do some LinkedIn reviews. At the minute, it's Career Workshop. We'll swap to that later on. So Ali says, I'm 25, graduate with an ordinary degree in accounting and finance, non-honors. Cool. I have experience in enterprise software sales and want to get into either product management or consulting. How do I do that? So, Ali, are you a student or what? What's your current status? Are you working or where are you? And then Max, I'll come to you in just a minute because that's an interesting dilemma there. James, you say, can I have a look at your LinkedIn profile? Yes, but I'm not doing that right now. It were just general questions. I had a lot of comments, people saying, stop doing LinkedIn reviews, right? Stop doing profile reviews and start talking about careers. So that's what we're doing at the moment. Okay, so Ali, you're currently working full-time global tech company, enterprise sales. Excellent. All right, but you want to get into product management or consulting. Two things to think about first, Ali. There are a lot of possibilities out there. My absolute favorite way of converting careers is contracting. Do have a look at JobServe. Have a look at JobServe and see what's around as a contract. Contracts are really good as a way of not full time. These are contracts maybe for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, but they're a great way of chopping career. Changing career. They're really, really useful because with contracts, the bar is much lower on terms of experience and so on. They usually want someone in quickly. They can typically let you go very quickly within a week's notice, right? So there's lots of negatives here, but the positive is you can then get into that industry quickly and then you can convert to permanent. So do have a look at contract. But the thing I'd be saying to you, Ali, is start, go, begin, right? What will it take, right? So go and speak to some colleagues. Go and, especially if in your current company, go and speak to some colleagues and ask. Go and speak to the HR and just say, "Can I buy you lunch? Can I buy you a coffee?" A lot of the HR teams will be quite happy to, their job is to listen. And where possible, give advice. And there's nothing wrong with you saying, "Look, I'm looking at my, my full time, my long term career, and I'm wondering about how." Ask them, right? Because maybe there's some openings, maybe there's some possibilities, and then who else do you know, Ali? Right? That's where LinkedIn comes in. Who else do you know? What connections you've got? What relationship have you got? To try and begin to see who do you know, who could you know in other markets, to try and get those roles, right? The best possible situation, Ali, is getting that inside track on other companies that might be hiring, but they're not saying so publicly and so on, right? James, hello. Yes, thank you, man. Do you have any suggestions on how I could learn app building, and also and how I could scale the app? So learning app building, Code Academy, Apple has got a lot of stuff. ChatGPT will guide you through the process. There's a whole lot out there. Go and have a look. There's some fantastic products and services out there for that one. Now, Max, Max was asking about. Max had a pretty annoying situation here. He says, he or she says, "I was in a sales interview with about 50 people, and then we went to one-on-one." So yeah, I presume there's a whole big workshop of potential sales hires. Then you went to one-on-one role plays and was wondering if you had any advice. And you were saying it was traumatic. We were essentially asked to sell a product. It's a bit like that, sell this pen kind of thing. We weren't given much info, just, I presume they just threw you into the deep end. One of the things they'll have been doing there, Max, is to see how you react. Okay, that's not fun, but some people will really find it fun. But generally speaking, not so much. Interesting. You're saying any advice to project confidence, if that makes sense. It does make sense. And look, the base reality here, Max, is fake it till you make it. Right, that's what we all have to do. No, fake it till you make it sounds bad, but what that means projecting. So it literally means go into the toilets or the loos just before you go in and write, and just go there. Okay, all right. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? Okay, I can do this. I'm doing it. Put the game face on, fake smile. Come on, let's go. And you really have to lean into this, Max. Really lean in, because it's a difficult situation if you're having to do these kind of things regularly. So projecting confidence. One thing I saw a really interesting TED talk, and I've done this a few times before really serious meetings. And this will sound crazy, right? I know that this might sound strange, but here's what you do. There is a TED talk on this. I think it's about confidence or something, right? And what you do, you go somewhere where there's no people, right? A private room somewhere, restroom or something, and you just do this. You stand there in a big power pose, right, for about a minute, or like, and that really can change the chemistry in your body. Does it work? Well, it worked for me. So yeah, and trying to project confidence. Anyway, good luck, Max. Right, let's go. Sentient, why did you stop being a bank exec, and what are you doing now? So I finished my it was the Middle East, and one of the situations there are very particular situations where it would be sensible, or where it's required that you step down, because you finished a particular piece of work, a particular program, and there are very specific rules about expats working in the Middle East. So I finished my role. Now the next step for me, Sentient, was either to go and do another one, and I was certainly open to that, or do something else. And actually, what I chose was to create a company. And I've done this before. I've been an entrepreneur, a startup guy or an entrepreneur before, and I created an advisory company. So basically, selling my experience and time and perspective to other banks, but not on a full-time basis. So helping with this project, helping with that project. I also work a lot with fintech. So fintech startups and fintech financial technology companies. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. That does give me a little bit of time to be giving back. That's one of the reasons I'm doing this, is see if I can try and help. Now, the key question I've got, I do have a slight challenge, everybody. So thank you for your patience. Thank you for your attention. if you're liking what you're hearing, could you please follow me? Because the one problem I've got, right? The one problem I've got, my currency is your attention and then your likes, okay? Because then when I stop this, I go back into the house, right? And then my wife says, how was it? And then I have to go. There were 20. This is what barometer, right? There were 12 followers. Right. Quite helpful, please. If can you give me some likes? Okay, right. So Gary says, "Good afternoon." Hello, Gary. Hit me with some questions. Shush says, "I have completed an apprenticeship in cybersecurity. I've switched roles in the last 7 months. I have an interview with a new company, paying better, and I'm feeling a tad bit guilty." No. No, I hear you. Shush. I hear you. So you finished your apprenticeship in cybersecurity, and you've switched roles in the last 7 months. Okay, and you've got an interview with a new company. Good, great, good for you. My fundamental view, Shush, is develop yourself, grow yourself, look after number one. Okay, because be very clear that the company that is employing you, this goes to everybody here, the company is employing you right now, they have zero loyalty. No company, right, without limited exception, no company has any loyalty to you, right? So do look after number one. Now, so Shush, I understand you've got an interview with somebody else. Cool, right? Is it paying more? Is it more responsibility? Take it, right? It's your current company, your current boss, their job is to keep you, right? Their job is to try and retain you all the time. Okay. Now, how they do that theoretically is best by making a great environment, by making sure you're looked after. They don't want you to leave. Okay. But some companies are not very good at valuing their employees. Okay. Now, the interesting thing here, Shush, is you've been asked for an interview. Why don't you say no? Right? Why didn't Shush say no? And if you're having a phenomenal time at your current company and you're being very well paid and you're absolutely delighted and you're being treated brilliantly, the answer to anyone who says, would you be interested in another job? The answer is usually no. So it's interesting, Shush, that you said yes. Okay, but fundamentally, push yourself forward. Right, run fast, push yourself forward, take the opportunities as they're given to you, because your company, your current company, has no loyalty to you. Right, companies will, if they need to, they will fire you. This is the reality, okay? So it goes both ways. And the view that you are permanent until you are let go. Okay? So if you have an opportunity, Shush, take it, is my view, right? As long as it's good, as long as you think it's a great move, go for it. Now, it's unfortunate for the current company. They'll be disappointed. They might do the guilt trip thing. Oh my gosh, right? As long as there's no legal reality, right? As long as you haven't committed anything to them, carry on, right? But first of all, Shush, take the interview. Take the interview, explore. You should always be looking at your options, okay? So good luck. Sully says, how should you answer a tell us about yourself question? Really good, Sully. That's a really good one there. Okay, how should you answer a tell us about yourself question? Think about, do practice this. It's very annoying practicing, okay? I know it's annoying, but do practice it with friends, family. Practice it with someone that you can trust and who's going to help you. Friends, neighbors, relatives are good for this, right? Or work colleagues or the like. Okay, and you just say, look, I need to practice because it'll feel strange. Okay, but I tell you what, it feels worse if you're not doing a good job in an interview. Okay, and then sit down and have a think before you speak to your friend. Right, practice this. Tell me about yourself. What's your narrative? And this is something we all have to practice, right? Especially in the interview. What's your narrative? Meaning story. What's your story? Right? So when we say, hey, in interview, we say, hey, tell me about yourself, right? That's because I've got my questions, but I want you to speak. I want to see what you're like. I want to hear what you're saying. I'm open to a broadcast from you, okay? Now, what do you want to say? So think about your story. Well, I started X. What's your story look like? Whatever the reality is, you need the story. Okay, so you may have been hired or you may have quit because they were annoying. Right? What's your story? Okay, think about your narrative, your story, because that's the about, right? So when they say, "Tell me about yourself," you say, "Well, what we don't want to do is, well, I was born in." No, we're probably typically we when we're saying tell us about yourself, we probably mean you might want to start with university if you did university, jobs, responsibilities at university. Really, it's job focused, Sully, right? Job focused. We want to hear about you. So this kind of tell me about yourself perspective is all about you tell me how good you are, right? Okay, and it's an open question. So think carefully about what key points do you want to get to, right? You'll usually in a British interview, here in the UK, you'll maybe get five or so minutes, depending, right? Maybe less than that before the person interviewing begins to. You see them going, yeah, right, right. Before they kind of go, that's enough, right? So 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes. I did this, I did that, I did this, then I did this. You can then sprinkle in some interests, right? I'm really interested in this, really interested in that. Outside of work, I really enjoy this, and that means that I'm actually very good at that. So really, you're showing off, Sully, showing off. But think about what are those key stages that are evidencing you're showing off. Right? I was the chairperson of the so and so committee at university. And the interviewer, I can imagine the interviewer saying, "Oh, tell me about that." Well, I was responsible for this, and really, we're looking for you to then go. And we had a really big party, and one of the key targets was to raise £10,000, and I'm pleased to say we actually raised 12. All right. So it's all about showing off constructively, carefully with that narrative, Sully. So Max is saying, I don't think you need a degree to pursue a career in cybersecurity. No, you don't. I mean, it's very much dependent on who wants to hire you, right? But some cybersecurity requirements some roles will need certifications. But when you say career, interesting, I see a lot of conversation from you, that is those following on TikTok. I see lots of conversation where you're talking about career, career in cybersecurity. And one of the things whenever anyone asks me, I say, well, what's your definition of career in industry, right? Because we can work in the cybersecurity industry for 40 years, but not doing cybersecurity, right? You can be a project manager. You can do accounting, right? You can do finance in cybersecurity, right? So, I think a lot of you, when you say that, you mean being a cybersecurity practitioner. That's perfectly fine, right? But depending on the type of job you're doing in cybersecurity, you won't need a degree. You might need certification. You might not. Okay. Rahila says, currently on a career break to be a full-time parent with 7 years experience IT change. Please advise how to get some work part-time, flexible working. Right, there's quite a few websites, Rahila, where you can, there are part-time work from home opportunities. Have a look. I forget, what's the name, guys? What's the name of the one where they, there's quite a few websites where the jobs are all guaranteed working from home. It's a proper job site, but it's working from home. I forget the name of it. So that's one thing to look for, Rahila. You could look for part-time contract work. That's another one. JobServe. Do check out JobServe and look into the contract, not permanent contract roles. You might see some part-time contract work, 2 days a week or the like, if that's appropriate. I'm trying to think of a good. There's quite a few possibilities, Rahila. Not least your existing company or the previous company you've worked for. See, Rahila, if you and I have been working together for 7 years, let's say, right, and you go and do a career break for children, perfectly fine, right? But I want to know, right? If we've had a good time working together, I want to know if you're available. Okay. Now it might not be appropriate. We might not be able to get you full time, obviously, right? But if I would want to know, I would definitely want to know if you're available for a day a week. Great. Well, then you can take this thing, right? Because I know you're good. Okay. This is the key, right? Rahila, the big issue, right, for a lot of employers, and you'll know this, right, is you're trying to get good people who are experienced, and that's exactly what you are. Right? Okay, you've been working for 7 years, right? So are there any companies that you've worked with, or are there any people that you've worked with, Rahila, that you know, right? You've got good relationships. Drop them a note. LinkedIn is your friend here. Drop them a note and say, hey, look, just wanted to let you know I am available. If is there any work you're doing, look, you'll know any particular project or activity, I'll take care of that, right? So for example, Rahila, you must have seen a PMO or a project manager role that that you have been doing or been exposed to. I can imagine hiring PMO for 2 days a week, right? I don't know, right? Or something like that. And look, if I know you, then there's even more flexibility, really. Good luck. There's some ideas. Okay, let's go. I'm looking for. Okay, Harry says, please keep your questions flying in. Please, really appreciate it. Thank you. Harry says, advice for engineering graduate with no finance experience wanting to get into high finance. Right, Harry. Yes. What's high finance mean? Right, really well paid investment banking, I presume. So engineering graduate with no finance experience. Okay, you don't need finance experience to get into finance. Okay, what you do need is a break. Someone needs to give you a break. Okay, and even if you've got a financial, like accounting or something, it's about the experience that really matters, right? So if someone, Harry, if your best friend has an accounting degree or a financial, economics, right? They'll have a similar challenge. Okay, so really, it's about looking for the role that's appropriate, right? And then it's about making sure that on your CV and on your LinkedIn, it's very clear what you can offer anyone in high finance or anyone in banking. Step one might be get into the bank, get in somewhere. You could go in through technology, right? Engineering. One imagines you're pretty technical, right? Could you go in through a technology company, a technology vendor, technology consulting company, right? Can you leverage that to then, if there are a lot of these big tech companies, technology vendors, technology companies are working with banks very quickly, can you can use that as a possibility to get into the bank, get known, get hired, get jobs, think about contract work. You need your first break there, Harry. So it's looking for how do you get in, and don't necessarily look at the front door. The front door is typically graduate, right, or a very junior role in a bank. Go and have a look. There are some, right, especially contract work. I think many of you miss this contract, and many of you, I think, have a negative view of contract work. It's flipping-tastic contract. Because what you'll find is many institutions, banks, I was looking at some recently for another video I was doing, many of them will have temporary work, right? Junior business analyst, right? We want a junior business analyst. Okay, you paid 250 quid a day, right, which is very low. And we want someone. You don't really have to have experience, but we want a warm body, and we want you in the door. And can you just help us out, right? Now, these kind of roles, I don't know if you can get them, Harry. It's just all about your background, what experience you've got, right? Because if you've got some experience, you can begin to leverage that, right? But see these little contract roles, 6 months, they can let you go within a week if you're not any good, right? So you have to be good. But if you can get one of those, and I've hired many graduates. Sorry, let me be clear. Many people out of university, right? Straight out of university, they've had some work experience. I've hired them. I hired one lady on 350 quid a day, and I felt that was quite low. And she had a 4-year career in the bank. I hired her as a project analyst, just to help out. Right, she didn't have much experience, but she was pitched to me by the recruiter. She came in through a contract role. I said, "Yeah, in you come. She's good, right?" And she did 4 years at that bank as a contractor, right? We kept renewing her, and she's now got a fantastic career. So it's just about getting in, Harry. Look for getting in. U44 advice for creatives using LinkedIn. Yes, U44, but say more. like I'm trying to answer questions here. Give me a can you be a little bit more? Give me some context, or be more direct with the question. Okay, let's come down. Here we are. TikTok says better undergraduate course for entering the business industry generally, business manager or PPE. Okay, for entering business industry generally, TikTok says should I do business management at university or PPE for entering the business industry? My instinct there is probably business management might give you a bit more exposure to the things that we all face on a day-to-day basis. PPE sounds good, right? It's got a fantastic reputation, and it may give you a slightly different basis and set of experiences with PPE. I don't know if there's a wrong answer there, TikTok. I don't know if there's a wrong answer. I do like the idea of just business management, right? Because that's quite, I presume, Don't know. I presume it's a lot more focused on the general business realities that we all have to face when we're working. But I would be looking at the course detail, right, and see what does it actually offer. What do they both give you? And then I would make a list actually to then make that choice. Pluses and minuses. Okay. Brah. Hey, brah. Brah says, I've got no idea what I want to do, but I'm very good at business. Just I can't be bothered doing the online test for jobs. I'm fresh out of sixth form. Okay. Brah, look, there's plenty of contract jobs. You'll just it's just starting somewhere and getting someone to give you a break. And I hear what you mean about the online tests. Can you find a job that doesn't need online tests, right? Or can you make your own job? What opportunities can you see, right? Good luck, man. Send me some more questions. Sally says, this is literally gold. Thank you. You're most welcome, Sally. That's very kind of you. Ali says, any tips for the summer aside from building projects? So using the summer for personal projects. Okay, if you are a student and you've got this awesome 8-week-ish period, right? Especially if you're a university student, because sometimes it's way into September, right, before you're doing anything. Here's what I would like you to be doing, okay? I've done lots of videos on this. So step one, I would like you to be learning coding, doing some kind of personal project related to coding. No one in today's world, or everyone in today's world benefits from having some awareness of how coding works, right? So if you're looking for one way to make your career, you're a student at the minute, and you're looking for a way of really developing your career, one way is just learn some coding. Learn Python, learn PHP, learn JavaScript, learn something, right? I don't mean learn to become an expert. I mean just 10 minutes a day, okay? Half an hour a day, right? Shorten your TikTok experience by half an hour, right? And just go and learn some coding. You can do a lot of it. You can do on your phone. Desktop sometimes a better environment. Code Academy is good. So one aspect, Ali, is just can you learn coding, right? Just get some exposure, because generally speaking, 9 times out of 10, you're the only one in the room, right? In a work environment that knows how to code, unless you're working in IT or technology. In fact, a lot of people I know in IT and technology don't have a clue how to code. Again, I'm not suggesting you be fluent. I'm just saying have a clue, right? Have a play. So when someone says to you, oh, blah, 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 it's really good if you can then say, oh, yeah, no, I've done some PHP. No, I've done some Python, right? And you feel confident in doing so, right? Now, an extension of that is to say, well, look, what's a personal project? If you've got all this time free, right, and you may have a job as well, you may have some work experience, what else have you got going on? Is there an opportunity? Have you got some time to do a personal project? Now, a personal project, guys, is making work experience up, okay? So let me be really clear here. This is where a lot of you will say, I don't have any work experience. I don't have any work experience. I can't get a job. I don't know, where do I go? I didn't get the internship. So, okay, here's what you can do. Here's one option, right? Across this summer period, make up a personal project, okay? And then code it, right? It looks phenomenally good as a project on LinkedIn. You can actually put it down as work experience in your CV, right? I'll extend this a little bit. Here's a personal project idea, right? I'm really interested in the weather. I'm really interested in Microsoft's share price. I'm really interested in tracking what's happening between NVIDIA, they make the GPUs for AI, and what Microsoft's doing, right? So I've made a little program. My personal project across the summer was I figured out how to get Python or something or anything to track the share price across 6 weeks or 8 weeks, and then give some insights, and then I threw it into ChatGPT and blah, blah. Just make something up. That's your personal project for the summer, okay? That goes in your CV, okay? Do it, right? There is zero excuse here, right? If you have half an interest, if you're half interested in doing something like this, get yourself onto ChatGPT and say, look, how do I do it? Right? How do I start? How do I help? Right? And then go and look. There's so much resource out there for creating databases, creating ideas, creating things, right? create a database of X or Y. Go and look at how many schools there are in the UK and do some analysis. I don't know. Whatever your interest is. If you've got an interest in something, if you've got an interest in football, go and what public data from the football industry can you get? Stick it into Python and do something with, right? But I do mean spend a couple of hours every couple of days on this, okay? So that then you can sit in front of me when I'm assessing you for your next role, your first job, whatever, and I say, all right, I see here it says, right? I say, it says here a personal project. Tell me about that, right? That is as good as, or dare I say, even better than saying I worked in a pub, right? They all have different realities here, right? But being able to say, no, I did my own personal project. So Ali, I've been hammering that one, but I just wanted to give you that possibility, right? I think there's a lot of value there. Odvik, just done GCSEs, what to do for data science this summer? Well, there you go, Odvik. I hope you've been listening in. What's your personal project, right? What are you going to teach yourself? What data science courses can you do, right? Google offers data analytics course. I think I'm right in saying it's got 0 prerequisites, right? You can just start from 0, okay? And it's something like $40 a month. I think that's, or it might be slightly cheaper than that, right? With Coursera, coursera.com. Now, there you go, Odvik. Couldn't you do that? No, it's 6 months, typically. I think I'm right in saying it's 6 months. You learn as you go. It's 10 hours a week, okay? So you can compress it. You can probably do it in 2 months if you do a lot of work every day. But could you find a data analytics course like that, or something, or data this, data that, data, right? AI, introduction to AI, these kind of things, right? They're always going to be useful because you can say, oh yes, I did that. Oh yes, I did that, right? And you will be better than your colleague, because a lot of your colleagues, what are they doing right now? Sunning themselves, right? A lot of them are doing this. In fact, we can see them, okay? We can see the ones that you're competing against, okay? Those are the ones that are coming in, right? So Dawood just joined, all right? Now, is Dawood going to hang around, or is Dawood going, yeah, no, Career Workshop, don't care, next, I want entertainment, give me some dopamine, that's what he's, right? I don't know Dawood, right? But what are your colleagues doing? Your colleagues are doing nothing, absolutely nothing, right? And I see this, right, in 3 or 4 years' time. I see it because they're texting me on TikTok going, help, I haven't got any experience at all. Part of me is going, well, okay, where were you? What were you doing? Right? Okay, so, by doing something every day, right? Be disciplined. Practice a discipline, right? Your parents will be going nuts, okay? Because they think, oh my gosh, they're doing nothing for 8 weeks, right? Try, be disciplined for yourself, right? Because guess what? Your friends aren't. Your friends are just arsing around, if I use that particular Scottish phrase, right? A lot of your colleagues are just having a great time doing COD, right? Or Fortnite or whatever, right? That's okay. You do that as well, but do an hour a day of your personal project. Do an hour a day learning something. Learn a new language with Duolingo or something. There we go. Okay. Rahila says, thank you. Right. Sully, yes, fine. Okay. Will Penning says, are strategy roles well paid in banking? Yes. Yes. There's some caveats here, Will, right? Because what strategy role? What and when? And what's your definition of well paid, right? Ask me if you want. I can give you some indicative salaries, right? But yes, strategy roles generally are well paid in banking, right? Getting them, there's a lot of competition. Getting them is difficult. So I've worked with many strategy roles, strategy colleagues. Jake says, I've just come out of university. I've got a first in criminology. Nice. But I can't get hired anywhere. Okay? I hear you, Jake. You can get hired. It's not the job you want, right? Okay? What I mean there is, let's just be clear, you can go and get a job in Tesco, right? That's not ideal. Okay, that's not what you mean, I presume. I think the key here, Jake, is hunt, and do think about the possibility of contract work. A lot of you, when you're coming straight out of university, you have got these goggles on that it's permanent only. Now, permanent jobs are perfectly fine, okay? But by the way, they're not permanent. They're permanent until a company decides to fire you. Okay, right? But parents really, really like permanent because they've had permanent jobs as well. Do think about, Jake. Do look at contract work, interim work, right? Go on to jobserve.com and say contract, right? Contract. Okay, meaning it's for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. Okay, they may be extended. Go and have a look because there's a lot of value in starting with a contract role. Okay, because typically the bar is lower, right? For contracts, that's where I say, look, I've got this thing I've got to deliver. I don't have enough people. I'm not hiring. I'm not hiring more permanent because permanent, I've got to try and keep them, right? So I'm not hiring more permanent, but I need more. What I'll do, I'll hire contract. Okay, so I say, okay, go and get 6 contractors. Get a senior, 2 seniors, two mid. So seniors you can pay 100 quid a day. The mids 500, and the juniors 250. Right, and the juniors you don't need. As long as they're warm bodies, as long as they've done a degree of some sort, right? As long as they present nicely, are they wearing a tie? Great. Okay, let's do a quick interview and get them in because I need to run fast. So contract work is really interesting there, Jake. Have a look and see. Are there any particular roles? It may well be there are unlikely, very specific ones for your specific career demands or requirements. But I would encourage you get in somewhere, right, and start. And then once you're in, you're getting paid, right? Okay, and you're getting experience. And then you can be looking for the job you actually want. Now, Wala says, how do you get into contract work? Wala, really straightforward. You get your CV and you send it on these job serve sites, right? That's it. Right. And then if you're lucky enough to get a phone call back, right, that means it's hot. Okay, if someone phones you back, so you submit, what you do is you find some jobs that you think are relevant to you. On JobServe, there's other websites, Indeed.com, all the job sites have contract work, right? My preference is JobServe.com. I've used that. I've got many jobs from that in my career. Contract work. Go and have a look, and then you see the job, and there's an apply button, right? Press apply, put your CV in. You might write a little personal note to the dear Kevin, right? Whatever the person's name is, the recruiter. This looks really interesting. I've got quite a lot of experience in that, right? Thank you, submit. And then you'll typically, if you don't hear anything within a day, 2 days, you weren't successful. Okay? But you have to play the field here, right? Voila, play the field. So if you don't hear anything, it's okay, right? But if you do, right, you'll get a reply, either an email back, or you typically get a phone call because these recruiters, right, time is money, okay? And remember, they're going to make money off you, right? So phone back, Hi, Walla. So say more. I've got your CV. And what they're doing is they're checking to see if you're serious, checking to see if you're real. They want you to say, speak. So they'll be going, yeah. So tell me about your. It says here you worked at so and so. Say more about that because you're just testing you, right? Because contract work is we just need people in now, right? And then we can let you go very quickly, right? That's the risk with contract. If they don't need you, if you're not performing, they can let you go very quickly. All right, it's your job to not. Don't do that. Try and avoid that. Then the recruiter says, okay, look, I'd like to send your CV to this client. Is that okay? And voila, you say, yeah, fine. And they say, look, the rate was 250. Is that all right? And you go, yes, right, or whatever, right? Or you say no, whatever, right? But then the recruiter says, okay, I'll put your CV into the client. Okay, now you wait. Okay, but again, contract, we typically want to move fast. Permanent, stuff takes ages, right? Contract, they want to move fast usually, right? And the recruiter is pushing them, just like an estate agent. The recruiter is, come on, what's happening? So very quickly, they'll get a short list, and if you're successful, you'll hear from don't expect them to phone back if you weren't successful. If you are successful, then they'll say, okay, can you do usually a Teams call or something like that, or a phone call with the recruiter, with the company. 10, 15, 20-minute interview. Rarely is there anything more than that. There might be one more, but that's rare. Typically, that's it, and you're hired. Well, right now, it's not as you've got to play the field, but that's a process. Steve says, I took a year of being told too experienced for a grad role, and now good enough for full time. Do you mean not now? I'd say more, Steve. I don't quite understand that one. Alex, I'm not doing LinkedIn reviews at the minute. I will later on. Sorry, Steve. Okay, took a year of being... Okay, Steve said... Right, okay, now I understand, Steve. Steve took a year of being told you're too experienced for a grad role. You're now good enough for a full-time role. Not good enough, I think he means, for a full-time role. But you got a perm full-time role eventually. Nice one. Great news, Steve. Great news. He's replying. There's a reply. These are all replies. Great, great, great. I think, can I just say, you're doing really well, guys, at talking to each other. Very impressive, right? Really, really useful. So it doesn't exist says, I want to get into compliance and risk. I have a law degree. What route should I take? Look for I presume you're starting your career. Doesn't exist. Look for a junior role. You may see, so of course, graduate is one way, the graduate recruitment programs. But actually, I would also suggest have a look and see. Remember, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of regulated institutions, not just banks, right? That all obsess over compliance. Now, you may to get into the industry, you may look for a junior compliance role in a mortgage broker or an insurance broker or a small non-bank. By all means, look and see what's happening in the banks. Have a look on those job sites, on their job careers pages. But also remember, there's thousands of financial institutions in the UK, right? So I leased one of our cars, right? That came from a regulated broker, right? They need a compliance person. Okay, there's a small company, maybe there's 8 of them, right? But they need a junior. They may need a junior compliance officer. They may be hiring. So you don't have to always go straight to Barclays, right? But I would be looking there. I'd also be looking at contract roles. Anything that gets you in the door doesn't exist. And then begin. And you've done data analytics. That's very, very excellent. It doesn't exist. Really interesting. There's some others that were in a chat here who were thinking about doing some data analytics courses. I think that's great to hear that you've done that already. That makes you even more marketable, right? For quite a variety of different roles. So good luck, I would say. So H says, as a software engineer, this man is speaking facts. You are very kind, H. Thank you. Do say more, because you'll be helping those in the group. I really appreciate that. History says, are you looking at LinkedIn Live? Yes, I will do later on. At the moment, I'm doing the Career Workshop, just chatting, right? And by the way, if you're new, one of the things I do enjoy doing is looking at LinkedIn profiles and evaluating them, reviewing them for you, right? For those in the room. That's something I have done quite a lot of this week. I do them offline as well on my TikTok. Do follow me for those. Can I just say, if you haven't followed me, here's why. Are you ready for my pitch, guys? Okay, here's my pitch. My pitch is you're on TikTok regularly, right? A couple of hours a day, and you really enjoy it, okay? But you also need to look at your career. So by following me, this is my pitch, right? And this is what I was suggested to say last night by some of you. By following me, you will see my face pop up now and again. And that will be annoying when you're looking for really funny cat videos. Okay, right? You're going, yes. Right? But by following me, right, you're going to get a reminder. Career. Okay, you're going to get a reminder. I should do something about my CV. I should do something about my LinkedIn. You know it is accurate. Okay, I wish I had done more myself when I was younger. Okay, so follow me, and then by doing so, you're going to get that reminder. You'll see my videos, okay, popping up. Okay, right. Sally is saying essentially a project which uses an API. Sally, I think I slightly disconnected there, Sally. Oh, sorry, I think you're talking to somebody else, right? MH, I personally tutored my little brother for GCSE. Can I put that on my CV? Yes, you can. MH, so MH says, I tutored my little brother for GCSE. Can I put that in my CV? Yes, you can. Here's how I would do that, right? First of all, I wouldn't mention it. It's my little brother. I would say I was a math tutor or an English tutor, right? I would put that in your CV. I put that on LinkedIn. And then you could say I offered tuition services to a GCSE level in English for a year or whatever, right? Okay? That's accurate. Okay? That's accurate. Okay, and now when I then ask you, okay, MH, it says here, MH, it says that you've done a year of mathematics tuition. Interesting. Tell me about that. And you say, well, yes, yeah. Look, I actually was hoping to get way more. In fact, it was only one student that I ended up teaching, but I'm pleased to say they got a B. Or they got an A or whatever, right? Okay, just see, that's how I would handle that, right? You don't have to say it was my brother, right? Okay, but then I would also suggest to you, MH, is there anyone else? Can you possibly Here's a little bit of an accelerator. Is there anyone else you can offer some tuition to once for free, right? Go and get 3 other people, 3 other students, right? And offer them 1 hour's tuition on something, right? Now you've got 4 students, okay? That's accurate. It's accurate. And if someone asks you, you don't faint and you don't go, oh, it's accurate. It is accurate, okay? You may not have been paid. That's okay. That's nothing to do with anyone, right? We don't care who, what, right? Point is, did you have 4 students? You tutored 4 students. Yes. Great. Right. You see, right? That's accurate. That is accurate. Okay. So there's a perception here that you can be creating. Don't lie. Lying is inaccurate. Okay. That I wouldn't do, because that can get difficult. That can get stressful. Right. Don't do that. But being clear what it is you did. Excellent. Right. Okay. Right. Let's go. Apple user says, "Can you look at my LinkedIn? I did have a picture. I'm just private." So you did have okay, Apple user. I'll be doing LinkedIn later on, and we can do that. You did have a picture. I'm just private. Help. Can you please look at my LinkedIn? I asked the other day, but I did have a picture. I'm just private. Okay. What's your best advice for group exercises? Ethan says. Ethan, can you tell me more about what you mean by group exercises? Do you mean in interview situations or the like? Tell me more about that. So building project definitely down as one. What else would you suggest, please? Doesn't exist. Are you talking to me there? Please ask me. Try and put the questions as a fully rounded one, because sometimes it's difficult to follow. Should I be scheduling virtual chats with the recruiters or people who work in a specific industry to get referral? Yes, but the big issue, the big problem. Recruiters are going to say, why? 15 minutes with you. Why? Right? Where's my job? Why? Where's the money? That's the issue with recruiters, okay? Because their job is to make money, so they'll be looking to see, yes, they will take a meeting with you, right? But they a lot of them will rather just have your CV, because often they only want to speak to you if they can sell you, right? So you can try and schedule some chats with the recruiters. People that work in a specific industry, very different. Right, you can network, right? Add them on LinkedIn. Offer to buy some coffees. Friends of friends or friends of friends. Just go be known as a person. Can I buy you coffee? Can I buy you lunch? Most people go, oh, okay, right. But be careful with recruiters, just because they will not give you the time of day unless they can see a commercial return, right? Okay, Steve says, feel undergraded paid in the current role, software engineering and bank. Overperform colleagues every day. How do I make the move to get a promotion? You've been there 6 months. Right, okay. The little game they play in company, Steve, this is what people won't necessarily tell you, I don't think, easily, right? Let me give you some inside perspective, right? You feel that you're undergraded, so you could be more senior, or essentially underpaid, right, in your current role, and you're doing better than your colleagues, okay? And how do you get moved to get a promotion? You've been there 6 months. Right. The naughty secret is what HR is going to say is, ooh, 6 months. So, no. You need to do more. Right. These are the artificial rules that they create. Artificial, right? Your line manager is going to say, oh, 6 months. 6 months. No. We don't do that. We don't. It's impossible. It's impossible. You need to do at least a year. Maybe 18 months before we can, right? All this nonsense, right? This is all nonsense, okay? But it's real, because it's in place, okay? Companies will, as a matter of policy, do everything possible to avoid giving you extra money, right? 'Cause it's just a cost, right? And they tell you all these story after story after story about why it can't be done, and we don't do this, and we don't normally do this. So, Steve, some things to consider here. One, swap, change role. Okay. 2, go and become a contractor. Right. Now, you will then say, but wait a minute. Yes. Right. All the different things that popped up in your mind when I said, oh, quick, go and do something else. Right. You'll think, wait. You'll be saying, wait. I want the longevity of my career. I want to stay where I am. I just want paid more. Right. Well, they are going to do everything possible, Steve. That's what the HR team typically is existing for. Everything possible to not pay you. more, right? Until some made up convenient date to them, right? So I would think carefully. What's the right next step for you? Okay, you want to get a promotion, you want to get some more money, right? Typically speaking, if you've only been there 6 months, they're gonna do everything possible. Go, no, you got to be here. They'll unofficially tell you you might want to wait until 18 months or something like that, or 2 years. Okay, and I've had that problem with colleagues, right? With people I've been managing and leading, where they go, I want more. Yeah, I want some more money. And there's nothing wrong with you. You should be asking for more, right? You deserve it, right? If you don't ask, you don't get. The problem I have is I go and speak to HR and they go, no, we don't do that. And it's just because if everybody kept doing that, it'd be very expensive, right? There's your base reality. Now, one thing you could be doing is saying, I'm leaving, and maybe threatening or actual leaving, can push them. But because you've only been here 6 months, their view is no. So it would be thinking about there's some different strategies to think about here, Steve. Right, so Apple says I have a first in B engineering, mechanical engineering, in chemical engineering, or Meng, sorry. Final and my second role, Unilever. Congratulations, Apple. Now, what were you then? Okay, fine, yeah, fine. Shush, hi, I'm back again. What do you think about cybersecurity in the Middle East? I have 3 years experience. I've worked a lot in the Middle East, Shush. I've got quite a bit of experience working there. I think it could be very, very exciting. One of the best things there is you can get some good experience. It is in heavy demand, that skill, and there is a very preferential tax regime there. It's also quite expensive, certainly in Dubai and central downtown Dubai. If you stay outside, it can be pretty effective. I would encourage you to think about it. Shush, talk to some recruiters. There is I'm trying to remember the guy's name. FinSearch, I think it is. I think it's FinSearch. Plenty of recruitment companies. You can find a lot of them on LinkedIn. I have a podcast called New Era FinTech Podcast. It's linked on my UN.net website. And in there, I think episode 7 or something, I was interviewing a guy from FinSearch, I think it is, or Fin something. Really nice guy, and he recruits for financial technology. I think also cyber, but there are very specific cyber recruiters in the Middle East. Have a look. I would encourage you to try it, right? And if you have any more questions, let me know. Adelaide says, this man is a legend. I hope you're talking about me, Adelaide, and thank you, if you are. Steve has multiple recommendations and praise from colleagues, but manager doesn't notice. Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you. Some of that will be strategic, I can't see anything, right? Because they don't want to have to deal with the reality that you are overperforming, and then they go, oh, geez, how do we pay you more? In some cases, they can't, right? Because they've put everything in place to avoid that. SXR says, interesting, but can be unforgiving as either party can give 0 days notice. SXR, yes. In contracting, yes, right? 0 days, typically it's a week. It depends, right? Most contracts are minimum a week, usually, in my experience. You typically, I think do you have to give a week? I mean, there's about being, sensible and being not leaving them in a lurch. So you theoretically can leave at 0 days, but usually there's 5 days I've seen. Okay, Finn Sim says, do I need to have multiple internships to get a grad role in banking in general? Not necessarily, Finn, but it's all about competition, right? This is the challenge here, right? So many of you, I can tell by the questions I'm getting on my channel across the period. So many of you are focused on the big brand names, and what that does, right? So it may well be J.P. Morgan, Goldman Sachs. I don't know specifics, but something like this. They may have 20 places, 20 work experience or grad roles, okay? And they have 10,000 applications. Okay, now that makes things really difficult, right? So it's not about just the sheer competition, Finn. The sheer competition means it's very difficult, right? So in many cases, you may need to have that and this and that and this and this and this and this and a first and a what's it and a so and so and this and from Oxford and this and that and your father needs to know and right. It can be really difficult. Okay, for these golden institutions that everybody's obsessing over. One technique: could you try a less popular one? Try a technology company, right? Remember, so many of you are again obsessing over, oh, this is my career path, and that means I need to start in that bank. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Right? You need to get your career moving. You need to begin, okay? But where you end up, where you begin to really get stuck in, right? That you can go this way, that way, and then come into banking, right? You don't have to go in through the front door. And the amount of people I've been meeting, there's quite a few that I'm mentoring. That's a previous premium service, by the way. Quite a few I'm mentoring who, they are despondent. They are really, really frustrated because they've applied 70 times, right, to all of the cool banks, and then some of the less cool ones, and there's some that, right, but they're not applying there, and they're not applying there, and they're not applying here. This is just for grad roles. And I said, well, look, why don't you go? Why don't you go to this tech company? How dare you? Did you not listen? I'm paying you. And they're a little bit dramatic here. I'm overemphasizing it, right? But they're saying, but I don't want to go in tech. I want to be in banking. I said, well, wait, right, okay. There's only 10 slots available, okay? So it's, in some cases, it's essentially a lottery, okay, in that particular company, right? Why don't you go in there, do that for 2 years, and then swing over, right? Get hired, join. Can you do that? Yes, right? So your career is what you make of it, right? You don't have to just start here or be there. So, Finn, in some cases, depending on what you're targeting, you will need you need everything. You need a suitcase full of experience, right? And a suitcase full of amazing, cool things, right? Because they get their pick. They get their pick because 10,000 people are applying for that one role or those 20 roles, right? So they can go, well, okay, we like this, we like that. And now that's how we then get this barometer that you need to have lots of work and lots of this and lots of that. Yes, for those 10. But there's plenty other banks, plenty other financial service companies, plenty other companies that serve, like the big four. Where there's big four, there's also a big 16. There's a whole lot of other companies hiring graduates, okay? You get in. It doesn't mean you're stuck there, right? It's how good you are to move forward and change, chop and change, right? Good luck, Finn. What's your opinion on working in insurance? Drew, it's a great industry. There's a lot of money. Financial services, so banking and insurance, typically is paid way more than other industries. Not all, but typically, right? And often what you'll find, Drew, is that a project manager in logistics is paid, for example, 40,000 a year, right? Same project manager doing a very similar role, slightly different domain, right? But similar role in insurance, 80,000, right? Now, look, I'm just making these figures up, but sometimes the disparity is pretty big. Okay. Dot says, so I should finish off, Drew, by saying, go for it. It's a great industry, right? But you need to say more to me. Help me out. I've just finished my apprenticeship. I've got redundancy meeting on Monday. Contract finishes in August. Okay. I don't have anything else from you, Dot. Say more. Ali, can you get into finance if you only have good PowerPoint skills and nothing else? Yeah. Yes, you can. Right, but what's your definition of getting into finance? Right. So, for example, we had a digital studio in one of my banks where we put all of our digital people, and we needed someone whose job was to manage the studio. And we hired a senior person, and they managed the studio. So, looking at the all of the logistics around running a studio and running the office environment and so on. And then we realized they were getting very busy, so we got them an assistant, right? And it was £250 a day. I think we were paying for this contractor. This girl who had zero experience. I think she'd done history of art or something, right? And we just went to our recruiter and said, look, just get us someone. We want someone who can do who can be the number two to just help out with events and things and so on. No experience necessary. We just made a job spec up, right? And we were looking for, essentially what we're looking for was attitude, right? Bright eye, bushy tail, right? Enthusiasm, switched on, right? But there's no experience at all needed, right? Well, we wanted some evidence that you are switched on, evidence that you care, evidence that you can turn up to a job on time regularly, right? These kind of things, right? But really, we're just hiring for attitude, and we had 3 or 4 individuals come in, um, and I think we picked one. Just right, in you come. Then we got another one actually. And so that's how they got into finance. Now that individual is has made a fantastic career in finance. Fantastic. They are doing really well. Okay, right. Started off as you know, essentially the dog's body, right? I mean that nicely, constructively, right? But just as the assistant to the office manager, basically, right? But they stayed the year, 2 years, then they started doing this, then they started doing that, and then they started right. So absolutely, you don't. Right, now that's not being the head of retail banking yet, right? But that they're in banking and they're being well paid and they're creating a good career. So Matt says, what's the value of a master's in financial services that will help with progressing to exco level? So Matt, good question. Typically, I have seen it that if you have an MBA or a master's in something, that can help with your journey. But it's not necessarily. Often you'll see it is required. MBA required or masters is required, or would be preferred. I've seen that many times. I've been hired where the job spec literally says masters preferred. Right, I didn't have one, and an interview. My technique is because they would often interview me. Right, my technique, and I got hired. But my technique was to say, yeah, I can go and get a masters if you want. I'll take a year out if you can wait. And then every employer has said, no, it's all right. So we don't need, no, right? No, don't worry about that. Okay. So I don't think it's a requirement, Matt. I don't think you have to have a master's. I think it can help your journey there. But actually, probably what's more relevant is climbing that ladder quickly, demonstrating that you can work at Exco, right? Getting the right experience and exposure. That's probably, I would suggest, that's more important. But masters and unrelated can be helpful. Interestingly, rarely can you get certainly in some Middle Eastern roles and situations I've seen, they won't look at you if you don't have a master's of some sort for Exco. But there's lots of nuance there, Matt. If you have any more Exco questions, let me know because I've been working at Exco level quite often. I should say, guys, just in case you're wondering, my name's Ewan. I'm a former bank executive. My most recent role was Chief Transformation Officer for a bank, reporting to the CEO. Before that, Chief Digital Officer. Before that, I was running transformation change for a lot of UK institutions at the highest levels. So if you have any questions about Exco or the like, just let me know. Okay, so it doesn't exist. So hopefully looking to eventually be a company secretary. Good. Yeah, that can be really good. I finished my apprenticeship early, but my contract finishes in August. I've got a redundancy meeting on Monday. Okay, so you're looking for your next thing, right? I presume. SM3T Smet, or Smithreet. What do you think of a career path after chartered accountancy? One of the interesting things I've seen with the amount of times I've said, in an interview situation, I've gone, a degree in accountancy. You're a chartered accountant. And they go, yeah. I didn't know. Okay. Because it's a completely different career that they're doing, right? So, one of the benefits of law, of accountancy and these kind of things is you don't have to do that, right? You can go and do something else, but then having done that gives you quite a good situation for responsibility. So often you'll sometimes see it if you've got a team of 6, the one that is a chartered accountant has that background, will be the one that says, hey, does anyone else want to do the project finances? Because otherwise I'll do it. Right, that's an important task. So they appoint themselves, and everybody else goes, I don't know anything about that, so you do it. Right. So very quickly in a team, because you've got that background, you're not working in accountancy, but you can push your career forward quite effectively by leveraging that. So there are so many options there. There's not one defined reality. Goy says, any advice whether to get an apprenticeship role while doing my master's dissertation? Yeah, if you can. A lot of people say, no, I can't do anything. I have to focus on my dissertation. Yeah, by all means. But I think getting experience, an apprenticeship, for example, getting experience is really valuable, really valuable. So I would encourage you, if you think you can, I would do it. What are your thoughts on a career? Oh, you've done chartered accountancy, a career path in chartered accountancy. Yeah, there's so much potential. Smet, say more, right? Because I don't want to just wax lyrical on it. Ask me some more pointed questions if you can. Okay. You and yes, other than building projects, what else could we do? Okay, so this is I'm finding it difficult to follow. Done at university, hopefully company secretary. Yeah, okay. Please, if I'm finding it difficult to follow some of your thoughts here, guys. So please do send me the question again in a easy way. Do you know any banking school leaver roles available? I don't, but I would go and look. Go and look. I think there may be some apprenticeship opportunities. I've heard quite a few people have been speaking to me, telling me about that. I don't know if it's straight from school though. Typically, you used to be able to go straight to branch, right from high school. I don't know what the reality is nowadays though. Go and look at the career websites of these banks and see what the possibilities are. I don't know. Chris says, "Do you know if HR digital specialist is a good job?" Yeah, I think it is. But say more, Chris. What do you mean by good job? Right. So I don't know what an HR digital specialist is. Is that someone who's specializing in digital, the digital economy, digital industry within HR, or is it someone who's using a lot of the digital systems that HR needs to run? I don't quite know. Shush, thanks. I'll have a look for Fin search. Yeah, do you think you need more experience? I feel like mid-level at the moment. And let's look. I go and talk. Right, try your CV on. And a lot of these recruiters in the Middle East will be keen to at least give you some perspective, right? Because you're worth money to them. And there's quite a lot of demand. So I would go and explore. Talk to some of these recruiters. LinkedIn is a great resource, right? Just start looking for cybersecurity jobs. And then if you look for the cybersecurity job, look and see which recruitment agency is hiring, right? So search cybersecurity Dubai or UAE, right? And try that as a start. And you can begin looking at these agencies. Then on LinkedIn, you can start talking to the individuals and say, hey, look, can you have a look at my CV? I'm really keen to move, right? Okay, 23 Mowgli says, hi, what's a good job you can do if you don't have much experience? Come on. Mowgli, that's such a difficult question to ask. Like, what's a good job you can do? Like, there are so many, right? And first of all, you can go and get experience, right? And that can also open some more doors for you. But I don't know I wouldn't know where to start in the context of what's a good job. Where can we find international apprenticeships? So I don't know the answer to that. By Googling, I would presume. And the issue with international is typically you'll need a visa depending on the country. So that gets a lot more complicated, I think. Just my view. So sorry, Khalidi, I don't know. Princey, I'm trying to get a part-time job, any money to pay bills, but struggling. Tesco? McDonald's? Okay, I know that you may think that's not being helpful, but those are available, right? Go and look on jobserve.com at contract jobs and then or part-time and just see what is available. Good luck. Luna says, what are examples of scenario questions? Are the questions like, tell me one time you failed? Yeah. These are interview questions. Tell me about yourself. Tell me what are you good at? What are you bad at? Those are what's what are you? Can you tell us a time you had a difficult a decision to make? Right. These kind of things. Can you give me some perspective on how you manage a difficult situation? These are kind of questions you'd often get, and have some ideas, right, about one time you failed. And look, it's okay to be talking, right? You are meant to have strengths and weaknesses, all right? It's just sometimes difficult to present them in a positive way. But ask me some more questions if you want, Luna. Omar, Middle East, like the Nordic countries. Yeah. James says, I'm studying accountancy. Nice. Omar, if hi, I want to get data or business analyst role in the bank industry. Any advice? Yes, start. Just begin. Go and look. Go and hunt. Start if you don't have much experience. Just start junior, right? Start. Look for contract work, or have a look and see if there's any if any of these banks have options for junior roles if you're starting off. I studied Moon and Stars says I studied medicine but feel disillusioned with the state of the NHS. Do you have any advice? Yes, I do. But say more, Moon and Star, right? Yes, I've got plenty of advice, right? But I I don't want to just throw stuff off, right? So you've studied medicine, you don't want to work in the NHS, okay? But what else would you like to do, right? There's a whole lot of possibilities with your background, right? You don't have to go and work as in medicine. You can use that in biochemistry, biology, biotech. There's a whole lot of other potentials. You could there's a lot of different types of jobs. By the way, you don't have to work in the NHS, do you? Can you not work privately? Omar, I would happily do groundwork. Yeah, have a look. Goy says, thank you, you're welcome. Okay, can PMO get into 100k brackets? I'm trying to think, user, if a PMO, so project management officer or similar, can you get into the 100k salary bracket? Certainly, if you are, if your contract potentially depends on the reality. So some PMO roles are quite junior and therefore are presented as such in terms of cash, right? So for example, I've seen one PMO role recently that's 850 a day. Now, what's 850 a day? Let's just do a quick calculation. If we assume, let me see. So, 850 times let's say 21 business days a month. So that's 17,850 times 12. That's 214,000. So there you go. Right. Now, if a PMO at 500 a day times 21 days a month, right? And these calculations can vary, right? So I'm just trying to be quick. That's 10k a month times 12, 126,000, right? It's assuming you're not taking any breaks, any holiday, right? So there's one view. That's as contract. I'm just trying to think there. So contract, I think you can, if it's a permanent PMO, you may find the salaries are less, 60k, for example. I don't know. I'm just making this up. I've seen roles like this. But yes, you can get into that bracket. How do we answer? Tell me about yourself. Cristiano says. So Cristiano says, how do we answer? Tell me about yourself. Well, you create that narrative, right? You sit back and you create that narrative. Okay, so write it down, right? You should be in your CV anyway, but you sit back and write it down and write. I started here. My first exposure to work was. I then got very interested in blah blah blah, and from there that led to blah 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 blah, and then I started to do blah blah blah. And then I went to university and I did blah blah blah. And while I did blah 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 blah. Do you see, right? So you're telling a story, okay? And as you're telling that story, you're highlighting milestones that the interviewer, goes, oh, interesting, in my mind, right? That's interesting. That's it. So write down those milestones, right? What do you want to say and mention, talk about, right? So it's that story, that narrative is really important. Can I get into banking if I have no internship after graduating? Yeah, you can. It's just, what's your definition of getting into banking, right? Yeah, you can. But there's a whole lot of nuance there, right? Louis says, what are some good websites for courses that are good to beef up a CV? Really, that's in the eye of the beholder, right? As in, what do you feel? Okay, so here's some suggestions. Coursera, Udemy, LinkedIn has got their own. Code Academy, if you want to do some coding courses. Yeah, there's so many. I would just start Googling and have a look. Right, there are a lot out there. J5 says, can I? Omar says, thank you, welcome, Omar. J5 says, can I work in finance and earn six figures without dealing with interest? Yes. Yeah. Absolutely, right. And you mean with actual banking? Actual banking. Yeah. So many people in financial services get paid a lot more than six figures, or above 100k, and they don't have anything to do with actual banking. Actual interest calculations and these they're all about the back office, middle office, sometimes front office. Yeah, there's a whole lot of different skills required to run a bank, not just the actual banking bit. Lorna says, what do you think about someone applying for a junior role while his last job is senior? Yeah, it's okay. It's why, right? So sometimes the hiring manager can be a little bit concerned. Oh, hold on a minute. I see you were senior here. Why are you applying for this one? So if you've got a good answer, Lorna, the good answer might be, I'd love this company. I love your company. I've always wanted to work for your company. Really, or I want to get into the industry. Yes, I was senior here, but actually this is my target. I really want to get in here. Yeah, so it's about the story, Lorna. Finn Sim says, are Insight Days and Spring Weeks good ways to progress your CV? Or are online courses better? I think there's a mixture here, Finn. I don't think there's a right answer. I think these Insight Days can be very useful. It also allows you to put some good names in your CV, right, when you just turn up to these Insight Days. But there is an issue here in that if we all know that you're just turning up, spending a day, smiling nicely, and now putting JP Morgan Insight Day on your CV, how valuable is that? Right, so that's one thing to think about, but it is getting you exposure. It's helping you build a network, right? It's getting you into that environment. You're getting into their office. You're at least getting some exposure to them. So I think there's some value there. I do think any experience that you can offer in terms of I've got this project management certificate, this agile project management certificate. I think that's always going to be very useful. But I think it's probably nuanced. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer here, Finn. I perhaps suggest maybe a combination or all, both. Moon and Star says, thank you, and I'm considering life science consulting. How can I develop my CV for this? Right, good question. The first there is, have you got any life science experience? I presume no, right? How can you get some? Can you do a personal project in and around life sciences? Right? Okay. Is there any research you can be doing? Can you do anything now across 6 to 8 weeks in the summer break if you have one? Is there anything you can from your own perspective start? Right? Can you do some analysis? Can you do some thinking? Can you do some research? Right? So you can actually say it's a personal project and stick it on your CV, right? Is there any data you can get that you can analyze? Can you do some surveys? Can you go and survey all of your people in your parents' work and ask them about their health or something? And can you plot that and do this, blah, blah, blah? And then can you publish the results confidentially, but so you're not talking about individuals, but publish them on LinkedIn. And now you've done a life science personal project. Right? Is there anything you can do yourself? Right? That's experience. Okay. Then I'd be looking for junior roles, any way into life sciences. Right? So search for life sciences, biotech, biology, chemistry, whatever. Search for those. I think contract roles are really good. Why I am banging on about contract, guys, is because it gets you in. Right? Now, if let's assume you're 22, 24, right? Looking for your first job. The permanent role is 5 interviews, right? Or it's 3 interviews, and it takes ages, and we really have to think about it. You've got to have the right career background. Because you're junior, we really struggle because you've done 3 years working in a pub, and she's done 3 years working at M&S. I tell you, we're looking at your CVs. We don't know what to So it takes us ages because it's a permanent role to think about, right? And we may only be hiring 1, right? We may only have 1 headcount. Okay, so it's very difficult. Contract can be really useful. A useful way of getting in the door, right? They're temporary roles. It might be for 6 months. Okay, they don't offer you much in the way of safety, right, and permanent, right? That's the deal with contract. But what you get in return is you get in, right? So I'm willing to say, for example, Moon and Star, I'm willing to bet, is there a data analyst role in a life science company? It's just an assistant, and it's only for 6 months, right? It's £200 a day. Take it, right? If you've no other route, take it, right? You're in. Now you're doing life sciences, and now you're consulting, all right? For example, do you see, like, these are possibilities you can be thinking about. Hamish says, I'm going through a screening process at the moment, starting 2 weeks. When do I post about the job? Do you mean having got okay, I hear you, Hamish. So you've got the job. subject to, right? Subject to passing the screening process, right? That's your right. So I would be tempted. I know it's cool to put it up right now. Pass the screening process. I'm sure you'll pass. These typically are formality. Once you've done that, okay. I think once you know it's happening, because it'd be quite annoying, Hamish, if you then put the job up, you get all the congratulations from everybody. So you put it on LinkedIn. Hello, hello, I'm joining, and then they say I'm sorry, right? Because it's all subject to at the minute, right? So give some thought to how when you do it. I would do it once you know you're starting. Well, once you've got a start date, for example. Doesn't matter. So CVU21 says, doesn't matter to put your address details in a CV, or will contact details be enough? You don't need your address in a CV. Absolutely not. You don't need that. Here's what typically happens with your CV. If you're being handled by a recruiter, right? If it's a recruiter, meaning it's an agency, okay? So big companies hiring, okay, and they've retained an agency and said, right, you guys go and find me. I want to hire CView or people like CView, okay? So the CVs come flying in, okay? The recruiter goes and gets the CVs, and the first thing they do is they take all contact details off that CV, right? So you might spend ages making your CV look beautiful, okay, really beautifully formatted with the contact little icons and stuff. The first thing any recruiter does is take your all contact details off. Some recruiters will take your name off as well, right? Some systems will remove names, right? And that's because they don't want the big company contacting you directly, okay? So they take your contact details off, right? So actually your address is not needed, right? And then they'll take your mobile number and your email off, okay? However, often if you're applying directly to a company, they'll ask for your address because they're gonna need it later on, right? That's typically why they'll ask for your address. Can I ask you? Can we do a little survey here, guys? What's your personal email? Don't want the full email. I want the domain. Because this is an interesting one. Sometimes I still see Hotmail addresses, and often in technology roles, people go Hotmail. So if you put a Hotmail email address, some people can get really it can weigh negatively for you, right? So what we're saying, Gmail, Outlook.com, nice, Gmail, first name. Now see, I was going to say, Steve, this is interesting. Steve has said first name at firstnamelastname.com. Have you got your own domain? If you're anywhere near technology, digital or technology roles, go and get your own domain, right? Even if you're not, I think it looks good, okay, to have your own domain rather than Gmail. Okay, Gmail I think is a standard. Outlook.com standard. But if you're into computing or anything like that, I think you should have your own domain. And it's £10 to register a domain typically, right? £10 a year. Plenty of providers out there. Have a look. So sometimes your email address on the CV can look a bit weird. Okay. Okay. See, Luna says there are also courses provided by Harvard University. Luna, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've done a Harvard course. I've done what's the other one? What's that university that begins with a Y? Yale. What's that university? I did a Yale digital transformation course. Yeah, there's plenty of great opportunities out there. Liam says, how good is quantity surveying? Sorry, Liam, I can't comment. I think it's a perfectly good industry. I don't know much about that. I would hope it's a good industry. George says, I had to have an operation this summer, so could do didn't get the rest of it, George. Hamish says, JP Morgan screening. Okay, thanks. I was also thinking it's better to be safe than sorry. I hear you, Hamish. Now, what was the context? Okay, I don't see the previous message there, Hamish. ABZ, how would you advise for a marketing student to get into marketing? Nah. ABZ. I'll just read that one again. How would you advise a marketing student to get into marketing? Okay, through marketing. How useful is that? Okay, I'm not trying to be silly. Right, marketing. That's what all of this we're talking about. In fact, I should career workshop. I want to put that here. What we mean is marketing. Everything is marketing. All of this is marketing. right? How you get your first job, how you get your next job, it's marketing. It's only marketing because you're selling yourself, right? So ABZ, you are in a better position than many if you've been doing marketing, right? How are you going to get into marketing? Well, I would be challenging you. How can you, right? What are you going to do that will get those in the target companies to think about you? So, for example, I've seen quite a few marketing students have done crazy marketing stunts that show their interest in and their skill in marketing to then attract marketing people to then go and hire them, right? So look, a bit more of a sensible answer for you, ABZ. Go onto the job sites, start looking, right? Look and see where can you get in. Often a junior role is a good way in. And guys, I must tell you, the amount of people that we collectively, I and my teams have hired, where it's someone with no experience, and we just take a chance, right? And these are difficult to find, right? But you look for the junior role, and a lot of you may have a view of, I don't want a junior role. That's too junior. That's too right. Because very quickly you can really develop your career, right? Now it's a lot more difficult to get paid more quickly in a permanent job. Right, contract is much different. So here's an example. Here's a live example of we hired a chappie. What was his name? I forget. I won't say his name. We hired a guy with one of the things we were doing, and we just need someone that could move boxes around. Really, someone who could be present, who could help out with this, help out with that. Very junior role. I think it was 100, 200 a day. 200 a day. I think we paid, which is very, very, very low for a bank, right? That's the lowest of the low, basically, right? We got him in, and his job was just to help out, and he clearly didn't have much experience. First couple of weeks, the poor guy was confused, didn't really know what he was doing. We're having to explain everything to him. But he was helping out. He was helping make sure the coffee machine worked. He was helping with the office environment, blah, 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 right? But he wanted it. He wanted it. And after 6 months, we were really impressed with him. He'd really shown off. He'd really demonstrated his capability. He was really viable. So we stuck him up to 250, right? Because it's a 6-month contract. And we want to keep him going. We stuck him to 250. And he's getting really good. He's learning. He's teaching himself coding. He's teaching himself this. He's teaching himself project management. There's a requirement for us to do a project within the office. We actually give it to him. Say, right, you run it. We watch him carefully, but we give it to him. Okay. And yeah, after the next 6 months, so he's been in role 18 months. We're now putting up to 350. Right. So it's not the only way, but see, sometimes these junior roles, if you put your effort in, and contract's quite useful because we can put your rate up quickly because we want to retain you. Okay, but at the same time, we could, the bad bit here is we could have also got rid of him really quickly, right? So there's plus and minuses. So ABZ, I would just look, turn every stone, right, and use your marketing skill. LinkedIn is a good resource as well, but there's a lot to say about that. Jack says, hi, I've got a BSc cybersecurity and MSc in fintech. Nice. Struggling in job applications and unsure what jobs to look at. Cool. All right, Jack. Where can you start? Right, get in. I would look at contract as just a way in. If you're finding it difficult, contract could be really useful. So go to jobserve.com as an example. Type in cybersec or equivalent, right? Or cyber fintech, and just look for some junior roles and get in. And then you work, then you show off, right? Then you really, really push it. And of course, every day that goes by, you've got experience, right? And you're getting more and more experience in role, okay? And I think that's one option there, Jack. Have a look. Okay. I see Jack's got @me.com. Very nice. Okay, where are we going? Do you know Cantor Fitzgerald, bond trading firm? I do. Free email, Zoho. Nice, says Steve. Thank you, Steve. CV, you're very kind. How do you find internships particularly for someone going into the first year uni? Quant is an end goal. I look, there are very specific websites. I don't know them. Well, there's some great websites out there for internships. Forgive me. Maybe some in the audience will know. Have a look. Because they'll be listed very clearly. But also, you can go and make your own internships, right? Through your relationships, through your network. You can go and try and get an off-cycle interview. I just go on internship. Go and speak. You reach out. Who do you know, right? And this is why your LinkedIn and your network is really important to you at this point, right? Friends, family, relatives, neighbors. Who do you know that can help you get an internship? Um, so Love Heart says want to keep options open. I say more, please. Omar says I want a junior role. Ewan, is it just it's just so hard to get one? I work for free at the moment. I hear you, Omar. I hear you. It's a difficult environment. You just have to turn every stone. Hunt, hunt, hunt. And look for as many opportunities as possible, and do try contract. I know that you may already have, but your contracts are a really good way of getting in. Luna says, "Can you tell me again what course you did with Harvard?" It was okay. It was uh, business transformation at Yale, digital transformation at Yale. Luna, but this was not directly at Harvard. It's offered by. This was Yale. Sorry, Yale. I can't remember what the Harvard one was. I need to look. But this I used a website called Get Smarter. Now, Get Smarter is typically postgraduate, so you've typically done degrees, and they are 6 to 8 week courses. They're quite expensive, £2,500 typically pounds. But you're getting trained by Harvard, or I've done an MIT one. I did the Yale one. Really good. Really, I find them very useful. It was Yale Digital Transformation, I think. Okay, Abd Lawell is using LinkedIn really that necessary for securing graduate corporate jobs? Once you're in work, LinkedIn is everything, absolutely everything. My last 2 roles came from LinkedIn. It's because so many recruiters use it as a default. It's the default. The internal recruiters, the external recruiters, the agency recruiters, they all use LinkedIn by default. So make sure your LinkedIn profile is rocking. And it's not necessary, but it's job sites and directly to the careers websites as well of the corporates. But LinkedIn is used heavily. Young King says career to do after summer internship in commercial banking. I don't. Do you mean what career? I don't. You help me out there. Miguel says, curious when to ask for a raise. I'm on a decent entry level salary, just graduated this year. Congratulations, Miguel. Look, the base answer is as many times, anytime, because you need to look after yourself. The reality, Miguel, is ask around, and people will give you some hints, because often what companies will do is they'll do pay rises every year. Right. Sometimes it's related to bonus, and sometimes what they'll do is they may give you a pay rise, so an extra £1,000 a year, for example, and then you don't get a bonus, right? Or they might say, okay, I'm going to give Miguel £1,000 bonus, and I'm going to give this person over here who's screaming, I'm going to give them salary increase. So it's very, very dependent on the company. The reality, what to do, Miguel, is ask everybody. Take some people for coffees, right, and ask, how did it work for you? What do you recommend? How did it, right? Then, if you can, befriend the HR, right? You'll have an HR person for your division, your unit, your area. There's an HR person assigned, right? Find out who they are if you don't know. Take them for coffee. Ask. Say, look, I'd like to get some career guidance. Okay, just ask them about, just ask them some questions about the future of your future career, and then say, by the way, how does compensation? Use the word compensation, right? That's the word everybody uses. Okay, this is very important, right? They don't teach you this at school. Compensation, right? It's better than saying money, right? Compensation. Ask for compensation. Just say, tell me more about how the compensation process works here, because that's what HR. They always use the word compensation. Why compensation? Because salary is just one aspect of compensation, right? There's bonuses, there's benefits, there's a whole lot of aspects related to compensation. And so speak their language. So Miguel, take the HR person for coffee. You pay, right? And just say, look, can I get your perspective? And tell me what I'm thinking of this, and what else could I be doing to develop my career? Any ideas, any suggestions? What's available to me, right? Because often companies will pay for stuff, right? And then Miguel said, and by the way, just how does the compensation process work here, right? In terms of pay rises and so on, right? They'll give you an idea. So that's good one. The other thing here is, Miguel, if you don't ask, you don't get. So make sure that your line manager is, at the right time, is aware that you are coin operated, okay? As in that you care, right? Because if the line manager is under a lot of pressure, and every year, when it comes to bonus time, they're given a bonus pool of money that they can give away to their team, and they're also given an amount of money, typically, not all the time, but typically an amount of money that they can increase salaries by, right? You may automatically get a 2% increase, right? But you might qualify if your boss thinks you're doing really well. He or she may say, "Oh, I'm going to give Miguel a 5% increase," okay, and then this other person I'm going to give bonus to, right? So Miguel gets no bonus, or Miguel gets £500 bonus, but I'm going to give him, right? So it's all your manager needs to know that you care. So that's another thing to discuss with them. Omar says another one. Do you know anyone at J.P. Morgan? Yes. Yes, I do. Miguel, I haven't done a placement at uni, but yeah, this is my first job in mechanical design engineering. Nice, nice. Well done for getting in. That's fantastic, right? Miguel, while you're here, and I hope the rest of you are doing this, right? If you're in role, this is when you network. Get to know everybody. That's where LinkedIn is very important, right? Get everybody added on LinkedIn. Once you've got that relationship, develop relationships when you're in. So Miguel, you've got an awesome opportunity because you're in, right? Start to develop those personal relationships because they're going to follow you across your career. Dot says just graduated with a first in engineering and have secured a role. We say well done. That's fantastic news. Absolutely fantastic. Congratulations. Tools says, hey, Ewan, what are your thoughts on law versus accounting? Which qualification is better? They're all good. There is no. I don't think there's a wrong answer there. It just depends on your particular perspective, right? So if we speak to some accountants, they'll tell you that's the one to do. Speak to some lawyers, that's the one to do, right? So there we go. Okay, now let's make sure I'm following along. Where are we? Right. So tools. I don't think there's a wrong answer here. Which one would you like to do? What's your preference? Miguel says, I've been working for 2 weeks and really see that I can change and improve things in that company. Fantastic, Miguel. That's really exciting. Jonathan says, is there any finance internship opportunities for school leavers? Possibly. I don't know, Jonathan. I don't know. I'm no expert there. Go and look. Go and hunt. Potentially. Possibly. It used to be branch. You'd start off in branch. And I know many of my colleagues started in branch. They came straight out of high school into branch, worked there 2-3 years, and then moved into head office. Miguel says, do you believe in 6 months that if in 6 months I'm actually being impactful, is a good time to mention something? It's a small, medium-sized company. Yeah, it's difficult, Miguel, right? But it's about having that dialogue with those individuals that are in control of the company, right? And do say to them, look, I want to move ahead. I want to get ahead. Can you give me an idea? You can take your line manager aside and say, look, 6 months in, right? You can actually say, look, how do what do I need to do to really evidence, that I can increase my compensation? What do I need to do? And see what the manager says, right? And they can begin to take that dialogue with you, right? Adam, any advice on joining the police as a 20-year-old? I don't have, Adam. My brother is a high up in the specials. That's the limit of my awareness on joining the police. I can imagine it'd be a great career. I think they'll take you at 20, right? I don't think you have to have any crazy qualifications, I think. Adam, good luck. I don't know. Go and have a look and see. Would you suggest doing courses on Coursera? Do they have to be from a UK university? Right, doesn't exist. Good question. So doesn't exist as saying, would you suggest doing courses from Coursera or kind of .com internety places? Do they have to be from a UK university? So no, degrees typically, there is perhaps an expectation that it should be from a British university. It doesn't have to be. Plenty of people go and study abroad, right? The key here doesn't exist. The key is, what are you studying, right? So is it credible, right? So when I'm looking at your CV or I'm looking at LinkedIn, does it sound credible, right? Because agile, knowing how to do agile project management, right, running a project in an agile fashion, that it doesn't need to be from a UK. It's a global thing, right? It's agnostic of country. So if you can then say I did it, and it sounds, Coursera is very well known. These big .coms are well known. Udemy, LinkedIn Learning. These are all good, but it's more about the course. I think is important. It doesn't have to be from a UK university. I haven't. I've got lots of qualifications from non-UK and non-universities. Young King says, which career path would you recommend? Young King, you need to help me out. Please, if you're giving me questions, like the teachers used to say, can you put your question in the answer? As in, can you give me some context in your question? Connor Jakey says, I graduate next week. I just got my first job in marketing. Can we say congratulations to Connor? That's excellent. Excellent. Really, really good news. Miguel says, thank you. No worries, Miguel. Good luck. Adam says, yes, once you move up the pay points, I'm thinking of going for it, but never liked the idea of uni. Yeah, you don't have to do uni. What websites do you recommend for graduate software development roles? I don't know. I don't know per. My preference is JobServe for contract roles, but for graduate software, I don't know. It may be useful to go and speak directly to you look at the bank career websites if you're, or so the corporate career websites if you're looking. I can't give you a decent answer there. Have 2025 grad scheme ops opened yet? I don't know. I hear from others, Smile. I hear from others that it's September, but I don't know. Ewan, what do you think of City Careers Coach? Do you mean Anton? Do you mean the City Careers Coach on TikTok? Let me know, Anton. I was just waiting to hear from Anton there. Okay, let's we'll come back to Anton. Amino, what advice would you give to someone at non-target uni trying to get into banking? The advice I would give you is you can. The front door, the graduate front door, may be closed to you, right? Just because there's so much competition, and one of the ways that these institutions can reduce the competition is by saying, oh, we only recruit from these these universities, or actually we're looking for the best graduates, and it's that often in their view can mean these specific universities. There's no limit to you here, right? I do like the idea of contract as a way in, Mina, right? Do have a look at JobServe financial services contracts, right? Just a 6-month contract role. It's a great way of getting into the industry. Not through the front door, just go around the side if you like. It's a great way of getting in. Or you can go and work with a tech company that works with a bank or corporate or the like. So Lona says, I used to use remuneration, but I think compensation is more professional. I hear you. Remuneration, you can use that as well. I always like compensation. The phrase. Do you review CVs? Yes, I do. That's a premium service. I've been thinking about doing that, doing CV reviews, like I do my LinkedIn reviews. It's a bit more complicated. There's a lot more personal details on them. So I'm thinking about how I do that. So you can get me to review your CV if you wish. It's £49 for 30 minutes. Details are on my website, ewan.net. Is it still sensible to apply for internships if you're a year early for their requirements? I think so, but I don't have much experience there, Dot, on this one. You're saying, is it still sensible to apply for internships if you're a year early for their requirement? Will they refuse you? Will they hold you for the next year? I don't know. I would probably just give it a go. But forgive me, I don't have a good enough answer for you there. How would you advise a Cambridge student looking to go into banking or consulting but undecided? That's from Whiteheart. So how would you advise a Cambridge student looking to go into banking or consulting but undecided? You see, there is no wrong answer here. It's about what you want to do. So, for example, right? It's very easy to go into consulting for 2 years and then swap to banking for 2 years and then come out of banking into. You're right. It's not one way or another, right? You don't have to start there, okay, and stay there, right, and make your decision right now. I would say, get a piece of paper, right, and a pen, and literally go, consulting, what does that offer me? Banking, what does that offer me, right? Because there's so much nuance here. There's so much detail on what it means, and right. Consulting, typically, at some point you will be selling. Right? The higher you go in consulting, you're selling consulting engagements. To start off with, you're delivering, but then you're really selling. Whereas banking's slightly different career path. But look, there's so many different careers within each of these industries. That's why it's difficult to give you a good answer. But if you want, you can hire me. You can hire me for half an hour and let's chat about it. That was my premium promo there. What Young King says, what career path would you recommend to go into after summer internship in commercial banking? It's very difficult, Young King. I hear your question because like, anything that you like, right? I think you're hoping that I then say, because you've said commercial banking, you must now do X, Y, Z. I don't think there's rules here. Some other TikTokers, I'm sure, will have some flashy answers for you. But look, if you really enjoyed, are you doing the internship right now in commercial banking? Did you really enjoy it? Then, if you've already made some connections in commercial banking, and can you get a job offer for when you come out of university, right? And is that something you'd like to do? But as you'll have seen, if you've done the internship in commercial banking, you'll see there are so many different roles in commercial banking, right? Be a project manager, you can be a banker, you can be a guy that helps here, there, back office. There's so many possibilities, right? Doesn't exist as I have ADHD and my grades were not amazing at uni. What would you suggest? Because I feel very lost. So I hear you. Your grade really, nobody tends to care in my experience once you're in, and grades are very important. I understand for graduate recruitment paths, right? Why? Because we've got 10,000 people applying, so we can go, okay, anyone with a 2-2 out, right? Anyone with a 2-1 out, right? Because we've got so many, we just got to filter them and get it, because we've only got 10 places, right? But so it doesn't exist, right? When you're once you're in, right? In fact, there's why I like contract, right? I don't really care what you do. Yeah, you got a degree, cool, great, right? Next, because I'm looking at your attitude, I'm looking at your capability, I'm going to see if you're any good. I'm also looking at your work experience. So I would recommend, do look at your work experience. Look at what work experience you can be getting now and taking, because this is important. Your grade doesn't mean you're now going to have a terrible career. Not at all. Tim says, is your firm currently looking to employ? Tim, I am running my own company. It's me, a couple of partners. So I'm not hiring at the minute. Sorry. It's just me. But potentially, maybe I would change that depending on how things go with clients. Thoughts on getting a 2-2, says Goat. Now, in my day, you can see the grey hair, a 2-2 goat, we used to call a Desmond after the Archbishop Desmond Tutu. Was a famous character from South Africa when I was younger. People would say, how did you get on at university? I'd say, I got a Desmond. It's better than saying 2-2. Thoughts on getting a 2-2, again, limited to similar to what we're saying, which doesn't exist. Does it really matter? Right? It matters for the people who it matters to, right? For me, I don't really, I'm hiring for attitude, capability, experience, right? And many are. In some situations, there will be a requirement for your degree to be this particular level. Otherwise, they just want you in, right? And that's, again, where contract's quite useful. With contract, most organizations are less concerned with your background. They just want somebody in to help quickly. Whereas with employee roles, permanent roles, we take a lot more time. We'll go, oh, he got a 2-1 and she got a 2-2. Okay, well maybe she, right. There's a lot more comes into it. But once you're in, once you're in, I don't, no one's ever. Hey, I've got a 2-2, right? A 2-2 goat, right? And I was chief transformation officer for a bank and chief digital officer. Okay. Nobody gave a toss. Nobody cared. Nathan says, what do you recommend for networking advice looking into film media sector? LinkedIn. LinkedIn's your friend there, Nathan. If you don't have a LinkedIn profile, if you're not using it, all of the film and media sector will be active heavily on LinkedIn. It's a great way of connecting. It's one example. Goat says, I got a job offer where I wanted to work as a software engineer and they accepted a 2-2. There we go. Thanks, Goat. Just thinking that if it will hold me back in the future. No, experience will trump the grade. Watch very carefully, Goat. I'll be really surprised, based on my experience here. No one will care, very quickly, because it's about what you've done, right? The reason often for the first entry role, people cares because you've got nothing else to show, right? Which is why I'm astonished at how many students, university students, don't have any work experience. They go, oh, I couldn't find any. Get something. Go and work in a pub. Get something, anything, right? Because it's better than nothing, right? And look, here's what happens, right? Here's how it works, right? The CVs come in, and then your CV looks exactly the same as his and hers. Exactly the same. It just says degree, right? And your 2-1 or your first means nothing to me, right? You got a first from Cambridge. Cool. That means you're pretty good at exams, right? It might also mean you're expert at banking, but I don't know. I don't know. It might mean you're expert. I don't know. I don't know, right? So that's why I have to interview you, okay? And routinely because some of these students, there's a student I was mentoring recently, premium student, and they're like, no, I've applied 50 times. I don't understand it. I've got a first from Cambridge, and I'm not getting anything. Like, well, yeah, but what experience have you got? Oh, I don't have any experience. Right. So why don't you have any experience? He said, well, I've got a first. Sorry, did you hear it? I have a first in, I think it was PPE or something. Okay, cool. Right. And I'm applying for all these roles, and I don't understand why I'm being rejected. You say, okay, you must have done something. No. Right. You didn't do any work during university. No, I was studying. Were you? The guy, he smiled. He goes, well, I wasn't studying the whole time. I was having some fun. Right. Okay. So while you were having fun, and the other students out there, the ones who are getting the jobs, were the ones with experience. They were creating the experience. So look, I do think about experience, right? It's a great way, and I would suggest that, in my view, very quickly your experience will trump any degree mark, right? Look, there may be some very specific roles that require you to have a very particular job, a degree, right? But otherwise, I haven't seen an issue. Ben says, tips to get into investment banking from non-target university in Newcastle. Use everything. Use networking, use friends, use connections. One thing, Ben, look and see who from your university is at that investment bank, right? Who has just got in from Newcastle, if any, right? Who is currently in year 3 of their career from Newcastle at that investment bank? Is there anyone, right? Is there anyone there a few years, 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, right? Because you can use that on LinkedIn to say, hi, hello, my name is Ben. I study so-and-so at the same university as you. And I wondered, could we do a coffee? I see you're based in London. I'm going to be there next week. Can I buy you a coffee? I'd love to hear about your career journey. There's no guarantee it works, Ben. No guarantee, right? No guarantee. But this is as a methodology of networking, right? Using LinkedIn to network. And then now do you see what I said? I want to hear about your career journey. So the individual goes, Ben wants to hear about me. And he's going to buy me a coffee. Oh, come on. And he's from Newcastle. So yeah, we did the same university. Okay. I don't know you, but yeah, fine. I'll take some coffee. Meet me here. I'll give you half an hour. Right now, what you've got then, Ben, is the opportunity to begin to listen to their experience, right, and then begin to say, now, how did you do it? How did you get in? So there's one path, one possibility, Ben, right? That's how you can begin to get some insight. They may be able to help you. They may be able to give you some great recommendations. But there's one example here, Ben, right? But turn every stone. And look, there's if you want, you can hire me. I can help with more detail. So Whitehart says, so it's possible to move from, for example, McKinsey Consulting to Goldman Investment Banking. Absolutely. Yes. And it's possible to go both ways and any way. Absolutely. Right. It's just about the job, the role, the person, the network. Right. Who do you know? Absolutely. Look, some people will say, no, I'm specializing. And there's some value in specializing, saying, okay, I'm just going to do consulting. And that's it. And there's some value in that. Right. But careers are long. Okay. So there's lots of flexibility to move. Okay. Now, do just think carefully though, because in some cases, you've been very specific. Goldman's versus McKinsey, right? What I don't want to do is say guaranteed, and then I can't guarantee that, right? But people move all the time across with different backgrounds, right? It's about who you know, how you come across, your experience, the role that you're applying for, right? There's lots of potentials. Look, you may find it that Goldman would not hire you because you haven't got the experience they want. Okay, whereas McKinsey might, because you know people in Goldman, for example, or vice versa. There's lots of nuance here, White Hart. But what my point is, you don't have to just do one, right? There is value in specialization, but you don't have to. Amphasan says it must have cost a lot to get the urin.net domain and your Twitter username. Was it worth it in investment? Guess what? It's $100. That's how much domains cost when I was in 1997. I think I registered urin.net. And I couldn't get urin.com because that was for the electronic wide area network thingy. Timo says grades are a reflection of who you are at the entry level, irrelevant after you have experience, in my opinion. I like it, Timo, with you. Sophie says, what's a good way of politely asking for recommendations on LinkedIn? If it's people you know, ideally it's people you know, Sophie, what I would do is just say, hey, look, I'm going to buy you a donut. Right, I'm going to buy you a sticky bun, or I'm going to take you for lunch. Right, or invite someone for lunch and say, but there is a cost here. I'm paying, I'm buying. I want you to write me a LinkedIn recommendation. Right, and most people go, oh no, because it's very difficult. Most people struggle to write the recommendations. So what you might want to do, Sophie, is say, look, here are some ideas. I'd love it. Could you say something about right? And you can almost write it for them. Okay, it's great if you don't have to, but some people just really struggle with this. They really struggle. So they're happy to publish it and do it, but they don't know what to write. So maybe you can give them some tips, some ideas, some suggestions. But I would also say, look, quid pro quo, you do it for me, I'll do it for you, right? Or buy them a pint, a coffee or something, or lunch. Nav says, do you think a master's at an elite Russell group is necessary for banking? Graduated Leicester? No, it's not necessarily. It depends what you want to do, Nav. I don't think it's necessary. I think your experience is important. Your experience, your attitude, your capability. And then the way that your speed at networking, these things are important. Your capability at networking, and then your ability to get the job done. Masters can be nice, right? But it's you can get in, and you don't have to have a perfect background. It doesn't exist. Says, would you suggest doing some volunteer work for charities if you want to work in the public sector? Yes. I would. A lot of individuals say I can't get any experience, and I say nonsense. And this is not just about public sector. It's people say, I can't get any experience. Look, your local charity, the local hospice, the local any local charity will happily, with open arms, typically take your assistance, right? So I think working for some charities, doing volunteer work is a really good idea, whether you want to be in public sector or not, right? So for example, you can go and ask the CEO or the MD of a local charity, and just say, hey, look, I'm looking for some work experience. Can I shadow you? Could I do some shadowing? And you may actually even say, look, I would also make a donation to the charity. Right? I don't know, right? You could basically give them £100 and say, look, could I shadow you for a day? But a lot of these guys and girls at these charities will be delighted to have your attention and help, right? So work shadowing, i.e. just a day, is one thing, but also you can say, look, I'm available for 2 days a week. Is there anything I can do to help? I'm good at Word, I'm good at Excel, I can manage some email, I can help design some posters, right? Amin says, hi, would you be able to rate my LinkedIn? I mean, yes, I'm not doing that at the minute. I'm hoping to do it later on. Timo, I know. Oh, sorry. Is it plausible to change from economic consulting into strategy consulting or banking? Yes. Right. It's just about looking for the opportunities. Aura says, starting law at KCL. Congratulations. What should I be doing in the first year to help with TC applications later on? TC. I can't remember a definition for that, but job applications, I presume. Don't just do the degree. Try and do some experience. Try and do some certifications. Can you be teaching yourself some programming languages? Can you be learning a language? How can you just make yourself look really cool? Read, learn, listen, research. Keep doing. Develop yourself. There's so much online. Someone earlier was talking about Harvard offer free courses, free podcasts, where you can actually just essentially take a course without actually getting the certification. But it's free, right? Stick it on the CV, stick it on LinkedIn, right? I listened to the whole Harvard course on X or Y. So there's a lot you can be doing there, Aura. Yanaz says, I got accepted for my apprenticeship at Mercedes. What should I do next? Watch my video on making your apprenticeship work. I think it's on my profile somewhere. I've been trying to organize them. I did a really good video, if I say so myself, about what you should be doing. Oh, that was for internships. Apprenticeships. What should I do next? Get ready and make sure that you apply yourself massively here. What an opportunity. Congratulations. But really, now how are you going to network? How are you going to grow your career, develop, learn? Don't just treat this as a job, right? Push yourself forward. I think it's an awesome opportunity. But really, you want to make sure that you're developing your network and your capability and your experience. If they offer training, take it. If they offer advice sessions, take it, right? Get a mentor, get someone to help keep pushing you forward. Really exciting. I'm on a weekly summer insight program with an engineering consultancy. Shall I add it to my CV? Yes. Yes. You can take it off later on when it's not as important, but right now it's useful to have other stuff that you're doing. So yeah, I've seen lots of LinkedIn profiles with that on it as well. Got accepted for it. Matt says MSc Finance Investment at Durham or Finance and Risk at Bath. Bath helps with internships, I hear. I don't know. I can't answer that, Matt. I don't know. I don't know. So yeah, it says a pre-recorded stream, I think. Okay. I don't know what that's about. Yeah, I'm trying to find that. Okay, this is not pre-recorded. I'm live, just in case you're wondering. Can a weekly summer insight program with engineering consultants be added to a seat? Oh, I've done that. Yes. Would you are you doing internships in IB and consulting? Would doing internships in IB and consulting look bad when it comes to specialized grad roles? I don't know what you mean by specialized grad roles, but I don't think it could look bad. Oh, I see what you mean, but no, you got to take what you can get. I don't think it's a bad thing. Ramon says scroll up. He's replying to them. Wait, are you thinking I'm pre-recorded? 3:21. There'll be a slight delay coming from my computer, I presume, but 3:21 p.m. I'm not pre-recorded. I'm live. Okay. Would it be embarrassing to create a post about boosting our network for LinkedIn recommendations? I don't quite know what you mean, Sophie. To say a bit more. I don't know about whether. Sorry. I want to work in pharma. Hoi hoi joy hoi. I have a pharmacy degree. Okay. Good luck. That sounds great. Charlie says, "Hey man, okay, I'm almost at the bottom now for Yads who thinks I'm pre-recorded." Charlie says, "Hey man, I've updated my LinkedIn off your advice. Any chance you could have a relook?" Yes, I'm not doing them at the minute, Charlie, but later on, yes. Adelaide says he is live. Yes, I am live. Hello, this is currently live. I wonder if I can type I am live. I am live. Josh says, what coding should I look to learn whilst completing a finance and investment management degree? The popular one is Python because that's a lot of AI and machine learning, data analytics. Anything that appeals to you, actually. I think it just looks good. It's good skill to have. Perhaps ask around and see, but I would imagine, in fact, do any of the jobs you're looking at, if you have a look and see the jobs you'd love to get, right, the jobs you're aspiring to, look and see if there's anything where it says it would be nice if you had X or Y. That's one way of trying to decide on which one to do. If I wrote a post asking for LinkedIn recommendations, would it work? I don't know, Sophie, because people need to be really quite. Yeah, it's quite a bit of work. People view that as writing 3 or 4 sentences about someone. That's quite a bit of work. You can ask, you can try it, but I would approach people directly and say, hi there, Bob. So someone you've worked with, right, or someone you know, and just say, would you give me a recommendation? I'll give you one as well. So ideally, it needs to be someone you've worked with, right? Hey, can you check if my name is on the list or already done? I'm not doing LinkedIn's at the minute, but perhaps later on. What's the best engineering work experience? ZZ file, I don't know. Sorry. I don't know. How do you act in interviews? Should I laugh at all their jokes? I think it's perfectly fine to smile, right? Can you show us an example of a perfect interview? No, I can't. Not easily. That's difficult. Josh, you're welcome. Yeah, so that's a difficult one of a perfect interview. How do I show you an example of? I can't do that. That's quite difficult. What if you want? What I can do, maybe one of the things I could do is interview one of you on a live at some point. If you want, I can do that. I can do an interview as I would do live, in real life. Hoy says, do you do coaching? Thank you for the question. Yes, I do. You can get me at ewan.net, and it's £49 for you guys for a half hour. Now, that's probably quite steep for many of you. Sorry, it was 100. And then my wife was like, come on, that's ridiculous. I'm like, well, come on, because I'm a premium guy. Yeah, too expensive. Yep, cool. Well, then there are others out there. I'm just premium. Sorry about that. This bit's free though, right? So please do take advantage. You are saving £200 an hour by being here. I've had many assessment centres and not been successful. Nav. Okay, I don't know where that came from.